Hi guys, so for this video I'll be using knitting needles in size 5.5 millimeters. I'm using circular needles, but you can use double pointed ones as well. I just use those because I find them to be more flexible. And the yarn that I'm using is in size 4 medium. So I'll start by leaving a long tail, and then I'll make a slip knot. Now you can cast on any way you know how, it's totally fine. So now we will cast on 34 stitches. This one already counts as one. Now that we cast it on 34 stitches, of course here it's a sample, so I did not cast on 34. So for row 1 we'll knit all the stitches. Again, you can knit any way you know how. So knit all the stitches throughout row 1. Then for row 2 we turn our work around, and then again we'll knit all the stitches throughout row 2. Basically we'll be repeating row 1. We'll repeat row 1 until our work measures 3 inches. Now that our work measures 11 inches, we'll start to decrease the first 14 stitches. So to decrease, I'll knit this first stitch, then I'll knit the next stitch. Now I'll insert this left needle through this first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch, insert the left needle through his first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Let's see how many stitches we have left here now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And this will be 21, so we had to decrease one more. Now we pass this stitch on our left needle. And now we have 20 stitches on our left needle, and we have decreased 14 stitches. And now we will continue knitting these 20 stitches for a few more rows. Just continue knitting every stitch. And this is our first row after a decrease. So just continue knitting every stitch. And then I'll turn my work around, and again we'll continue knitting these 20 stitches. We continue knitting these 20 stitches for a few more rows. I'm not sure for how many, but I'll come back and tell you. So we continue knitting on these 20 stitches until it measures a 1.5 inch. So here we have 3 inches, 1.5 inch. I need to cast on 14 more stitches. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Again, now I'll turn my work around and we'll continue knitting every stitch, the 20 existing stitches and plus these 14 that we have just casted on. Now we repeat this bottom part here as well. So we'll knit every stitch until our work measures 3 inches. Now our work again measures 3 inches. Now if we fold this in half just like this, we see that it's the same length. Now we'll finish off all of these stitches. I'll start by knitting the first one, then I'll knit the next stitch. I insert the left needle through its first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Again, I'll knit the next stitch. I insert the left needle through its first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch. Insert the left needle through its first stitch and pass it over the second stitch. We repeat this for all of our stitches until we have only one stitch left on our needle. Now that I have only one stitch left on our needle, I will chain one and leave a long tail, and I'll cut this yarn. And now we decide which is our front side and which is our back side. Now we fold our work in half just like this from the wrong side, and now we join these two sides together. This is the area that will go around our toes. So with your needle, I'll insert this needle right here through every row. See? Through these stitches, corner stitches. Oops. I will close this loop. Okay, so now that we have closed this loop, now we'll join these two sides together. And now we'll weave these ends in. Oh my gosh, guys, just try them on. They're so comfortable. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, they're so soft. Guys, oh my goodness. They're so light as well. I love those. Very, very comfortable. It barely fits. You barely feel that you have anything on your feet. But still, you can feel the warmth Beautiful. I love those.